Welcome to week 9 of business organizational behavior. This is your online instructor, Diana Block. This is week 9 of the spring 2014 quarter. And this week, our reading involves chapter 17 and 18 in our textbook. We're going to learn about culture and change. So the first assignment you have noted here is a reminder that you'll have an organizational analysis paper due in week 10. So that's not till next week, but keep that in mind. So on the Unit 9 discussion for this week, you're going to look at an organization that you're familiar with or have been a part of that was unique and stood out in your mind. And you're going to tell us something about that culture of that organization. What are some of the shared beliefs or values that made that organization unique? Then our assignment this week, you're going to read chapter 17 and 18 as we discussed. And then on page 464, that's at the end of chapter 17, you're going to read a case on Daimler, Benz, and Chrysler and their attempts to merge into one company and the problems they encountered regarding that. So if we look at that assignment in the textbook, this is page 464, the Daimler Chrysler question. And the first part of it, I don't want you to miss. A lot of people miss this. There's a part 1 where you're going to discuss which path you think this firm chose. Based on the information given in the article, which path do you think these two companies attempted? And you'll see there's some examples given. Did they try to assimilate, integrate, separate, or deculturalization? And each of those is defined and explained in the chapter. So you'll have to have read chapter 17 and made note of those definitions in order to decide which one applies to Daimler Chrysler. So that's part 1. You're going to discuss which path the firms chose. Then in part 2, it says your professor will tell you which path the companies actually chose. And you'll discuss what actually happened and what you feel the company should do next. So in order to get that information, we're going to go back over to Campus Connect. And you see here in the additional learning resources section of Unit 9, there's a Daimler Chrysler document here. Click on that document to read the additional information that goes beyond the article in the book to find out what actually happened with these firms as they tried to merge and how successful they were or were not in that attempt. And so once you've read this document here in the additional learning resources, then you'll be able to answer these 2 questions in part 2 of the Daimler Chrysler questions or article. So remember, you will need to go to the additional learning resources and get that extra document to address part 2, but don't forget part 1 as well. Again, you've got chapter summary and key terms that continues on page 465. It discusses all of the special concepts and terminology from this chapter. So you'll want to work these into your responses as they apply to this particular article. The second part of the assignment, it regards to BP, is on page 490. So let's take a look at page 490. And so we've got an article here about the world-class company, BP. And you're going to read this article and then discuss some of the things that have changed at BP, some of the assumptions that BP has made, and discuss what this company can do to motivate people through their change process as they're attempting to change the company. And so this applies to the reading in chapter 18. And as you continue to the back of that chapter, here we go, on page 492 and then continues on page 493, this is where you're going to see the chapter summary and key terms. And so you'll want to make sure that you're using these chapter summary and key terms in your responses about the changes at BP. So that's the assignment. You're also going to have discussion this week, like I talked about. And then as you have time, you'll want to start preparing maybe your organizational analysis paper that will be due next week. So for this week, you're going to read chapter 17 and 18, participate in the discussion, complete the Unit 9 assignment that is on pages 464 and 490 of the textbook. If you have any questions, I look forward to talking with you over email or in the discussion area, and have a great week.